This is Mick Elliott from Electronic Specifier. I'm on the Tria stand at Embedded World. With me is Alex Wood, who's the marketing director of Tria. First of all, Alex, just to set us up, could you give us a bit of background on Tria?
Yeah, well, so Tria, we launched as a brand a couple of years ago. It was born out of an acquisition of a company called MSC Technologies by Avnet some years ago, and then we rebranded as Avnet for a while, but then we decided we needed a standalone brand. We really wanted to stand out and be bold, hence the pink color scheme. So now what we do is we design and manufacture modules, systems, full HMIs. We do the software stack as well, so we help customers get from idea to products as quickly as possible, basically.
Okay, I know Tria works with many partners. Today we're going to be concentrating on Qualcomm. So why did Tria include Qualcomm in the portfolio?
Qualcomm's growing really rapidly. They wanted to expand into the embedded computing space as quickly as possible. Obviously, we know them very well from their wireless technology and communications technology, which they've been doing for many years. Now they've got some really exciting Dragon Wing processors, which are designed for embedded compute at the edge. And they work really closely with us to develop the modules. Based on our existing module designs, we put the Qualcomm technology into it. And it's proving really, really popular with our customers.
Okay. And why do we see Qualcomm more and more in terms of Edge AI?
So the exciting thing about Qualcomm is that they have high performance for relatively low power draw and low heat, which means that we can take their more powerful edge processors that they normally use for things like laptops or edge PCs, desktop PCs, and put them into more industrial computing. That's fantastic because it means that we can do things like Edge AI without reliance on the cloud, and in lots of different form factors that can be used in anything from smart fridges to tractors to anything else.
Okay, right. And which industries do we see when we talk about Edge AI? What are real-world projects that are out there in which vertical markets?
That's a really good question because there's a lot of industries that benefit from the different types of technology when it comes to Edge AI. At the moment, agriculture is one of those most exciting spaces because there's a lot of space for improving the way that agriculture works using technology. So at the moment, we're working with a few different customers in that space to develop vision-based AI systems where they can do things like object recognition in the field or crop monitoring, or automatic harvesting, that sort of thing. And that's where they need lots of different sensors, lots of computing power, but they also need ruggedization, so temperature resistance, water resistance, high brightness displays, and they've got to work reliably 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, winter and summer. And that's where we really thrive as a challenge with our customers. And
you work with Qualcomm to develop those boards?
Yeah, so we work closely together. Elsewhere on the booth here this week, we've got some demonstrations of the QCS 6490 module that we make, running some agriculture-focused demos and some robotics-focused demos, where it really does highlight the ruggedization and the reliability of computing and processing at the edge.
Okay, so what are the benefits in using a COM module compared to a chip-down solution?
The good thing is for the customer is that you've got the luxury of choice. So if you wanted to go chip down, if you're manufacturing something at scale and you have your own team that can design and develop that yourselves, and you have those resources, that's fantastic, you can do that. And you can start with a modular design and go over into that space if you want to. Where more and more customers are seeing the benefit of module is they don't have the technical expertise in-house to be able to move in an agile way to keep up with all of the latest processor technology, all of the latest communications technology, and they find that using a module and then putting it onto their carrier board is a much quicker and more reliable way to do things without having to compromise too much in terms of the size and the shape of the product itself.
Okay, and do you do the research into some of these applications, looking at what's coming through? Do you see companies coming to you? How does that work?
Yeah, we do a lot of research ourselves, and we have our own experts in-house. So customers will come to us usually when they've encountered a problem with something. So they've been designing something themselves, and then they said, we've hit a snag here, and we're not sure how to solve for it, so we're going to come to you and ask you to help out. So we don't just sell them the modules for them to use themselves and just give it to them in a box and leave them to it. Our teams will work together with the customers to solve the challenges. And things like the Cyber Resilience Act, that's a hot topic at the show this year. Yeah. Loads of customers are coming to us and saying, this is too complicated for our own chip-down design. Can we use your modules? So they pre-certified, said, yeah, we know that our modules are compliant, the software that we have is compliant, which is two very big steps towards compliance in the end product as well.
I mean, do you work mostly with OEMs or do you work also with small to medium-sized enterprises? What's the breadth of the customer base?
So we work mostly with larger OEMs who are making things on a larger scale, usually multinational or global. Think large brand medical devices, those big agricultural, machine manufacturing, building automation companies, and they are the sort of household brands or the industry household names that you'd be familiar with. Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, so how does Tria see the role of OSM compared to SMARC and OSM? What's the right solution for Edge AI and why?
OSM we're seeing is a very interesting bridge product for customers that do things chip down at large scales today and want to have a little bit of a shortcut to getting the latest compute power onto their product without having to completely redesign their product at the same time. Because OSM is solder down and there's a few different sizes available, and they don't really have to compromise too much in terms of the compute power, so we're managing to get even like the Dragon Wing IQ6 processors onto an OSM module. It means that they can take something very, very small, integrate it into their manufacturing line, put it onto their carrier board, and get access to all of that complicated computing very, very quickly without having to completely engineer something themselves from scratch.
Okay. And just thinking about the partnership with Qualcomm, do you get a heads up, if you like, of their next process, what's coming through, so you can get some sort of advance on preparing of boards for customers?
Yeah, so we're working on quite a few of the latest Qualcomm modules. So we've recently launched, we've got our IQ9 Vision Kit here at the show. We've got the 6490 based Vision Kit. We've also recently announced IQX based modules as well. And that really does fill the spectrum from the lower power range of the compute capacity all the way up to the more client-side capacity, and even like edging into the sort of server space as well. So whatever the customers want in that space, they have the choice.
Okay, right. And so, I mean, why is Tria one of the most important partners for Qualcomm? What are the benefits for all Tria customers?
So the benefits for Tria customers is that they've got the luxury of choice again. So they can choose if they want to go with Qualcomm, they can do. Obviously, there's loads of customers that are really excited about what Qualcomm can do. They're really pushing into the space aggressively at the moment. But they can also choose between Qualcomm or one of the other CPU vendors that we have. They can swap between them because we have our open standards. So the smart modules have the same pinouts. The OSM modules are pretty standardized as well. Our Com Express range as well. They can take those standard designs and then build their products around it, and then if they wanted to explore different CPU vendors or different CPU families within the same vendor, then they can do as well.
Okay. Well, do you work with a company to assemble the boards?
So we design and manufacture in-house in Europe, so we have our own manufacturing team. The benefit with us is that we have our design team upstairs in the building, we have our manufacturing line on the ground floor, and we have R&D in the basement. And that's actually really good for customers when they come and visit us, because they get the peace of mind of being able to sit with the design team upstairs and then see their product being manufactured on the ground floor. And they know exactly where it's being built and how it's being built, and they can audit us very easily. And that gives great peace of mind, especially for companies where high levels of security or product reliability are needed.
Alex Wood from Tria, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.